there are quite a few different units of pressure, and there's often a story behind many of them, and I don't know all of them, so I've just listed a few things here. The SI unit is the Pascal, which is the Newton per meter squared. I've listed here a few other ones kind of in terms of a standard atmosphere, which is also a unit. So 1 atmosphere is equal to 101,325 Pascal, which is equal to 760 torr, which is equal to 14.696 psi. This says psi-A, which actually is in reference to an absolute pressure. I feel like that's kind of optional, but you'll see it out there. There's also psi-G. And then we have 29.92 inches of mercury, which is commonly used in barometers, which are actually a measure of absolute pressure. So let me look at that one a little bit, the inch of mercury. Like the way that is defined is like, let's say I've got, I don't know, some kind of tray here, and then I put kind of like maybe a upside down bell jar. And if I have mercury, liquid mercury in here, and there is atmospheric pressure outside, and inside this piece of glass that I've kind of dipped in here, there is a vacuum, and what will happen is the liquid mercury will go up, and if the pressure out here is 1 standard atmosphere, then the number of inches the mercury will rise up in here will be 29.92 inches of mercury. And so this is the way that barometers, early barometers typically worked. And so you could say that the barometric pressure being in inches of mercury is kind of based on that history. And that really is a measure of absolute pressure. So that when I said that psi-A represents absolute pressure, I think I put that there because we're talking about atmospheric pressure, which really is an absolute pressure. Contrast to that gauge pressure. So in gauge pressure, the atmospheric pressure is equal to 0. In other words, if you're reporting a gauge pressure, that means you're reporting a pressure in reference to what the normal pressure is here on Earth. That's maybe relevant to things like airing up the tires on a vehicle, like a car or a truck or whatever. If I say I've aired up my tires to 30 psi, and it might be appropriate for that if you want to say psi-G. So there's ordinary psi where you're not really being specific. There's psi-A and there's psi-G. And if I wanted to use either the A or the G version for tires, I would say 30 psi-G, right? But if it's barometric reading, maybe I would say psi-A. And kind of the idea behind the name gauge pressure is that pressure gauges are usually based on a balance of pressure forces between the pressure force due to the atmospheric pressure that is already there on Earth versus the pressure, say, in a tire that is being read, so hence the name gauge pressure.